playing clips of this on the last episode. And so we have Larry the Cable Guy is on Beer on the Balcony. His name is Dan. And Dan explains the key to a successful marriage is agreeing politically, never fighting about things that don't matter, and taking time to appreciate all the good things in your life. And these are all things that John should really soak in, I feel like. What John decides to do is ask this question as a follow-up, and he's concerned it might be a little bit personal. You guys tell me what you think.
So, I mean, people treat politics like a religion, and it's a rule, you know. So, no, I think those three things are pretty important.
But then, like, and you know, this might be a little personal, but you know, at the end of my marriage, I was married 13 years, and you know, there was no sex anymore. So how do you keep the sex life exciting? Might be a little personal.
It might be a little personal. Are you fucking? This is crowd work. He's asking his crowd work question. Holy shit. He finally has a big celebrity on. He's been talking about it for weeks. He's all excited.
Yeah.
And that's his first question to him.
I also like how he's been promising a big celebrity name, and then instead of putting Larry the Cable Guy under his picture, it just says Dan.
Dan.
I thought it was his fucking plumber. Until I fucking heard his voice. It doesn't,
Oh, it's Dan from Nebraska. Good guess. Congratulations on that. Dan Whitney, by the way, is his real name, and I'm telling you that because that's going to come in handy later on. John asks some very dumb questions on this episode. It was a lot of fun to clip.
Every episode.
He's got a question dumber than why hasn't my wife fucked me in 24 years?
So, after he asked that question, Dan, because, by the way, Dan can see what the question's going to be from a mile away, so he has time to figure out what the answer's going to be.
Right.
So Dan says pornography is a joke. And watch John. He doesn't even connect with the answer at first, and then when he realizes it's a joke, he cracks up way too hard. That's one of the things that John likes to do with his comedian buddies. Like, whoa, we're all having so much fun here.
How do you keep the sex life exciting?
Pornography. I find that
I was talking to Eric Zane backstage, and we were saying, like, we don't have to do anything, it's just the clip. It's really, you have a clip like that, like I just go, okay, that's that. John's an idiot, so that's fun.
He should have said, I start with a bar of soap. You may have heard of it.
Have you heard of shampoo?
Yeah.
That's a good place to start. His brain didn't process that joke very quickly. Did you notice that? It took him like a beat and a half to figure out that was a joke. He's like, pornography, I've used that. Oh, you're joking! Oh, good one! That's why this guy makes the big bucks.
Yeah, right.
Apparently.
Imagine that, Stuttering John's a day late, $1 short, on his own show.
So, John's very impressed with Dan's wife, as we talked about previously, and you'll never guess why John's so impressed with Dan's wife.
You know what I loved about it, Dan, is that even when I met her, like, you know, at the connection, she was so down to earth and cool. Like, you know, it wasn't like, hey, I'm Larry the Cable Guy's wife. It was just more like, I'm just a normal girl, man.
So this is what's impressive to John, is that she's not going out there and saying, I'm famous, and you should recognize who I am. I can't believe she doesn't do that. In John's world, that's all you should be doing all the time.
That's all he does. Yeah.
But literally, it's just like, she's so cool. She's just like, is a person. Well, yeah, she's a person. It's not that impressive, actually. And actually, you know what's not impressive is the jokes that his wife writes. So Larry starts talking about whatever, Dan. I don't know what this guy's name is.
I prefer Larry.
Larry starts talking about, because he's talking about his act, how his wife writes jokes for him, and then he tells one of his wife's jokes.
Comedy's hard.
I mean, she wrote a joke for me one time that I've never done on stage because I find it too disgusting. But
What is it?
she said, you know, and I think this is true in a lot of marriages. She said, you know, when we were first married, you would leave a little stain in your underwear. And you were so embarrassed about it that I would find them wadded up in the trash can somewhere because you didn't want me to see it. She goes, now here we are 15 years later. You're basically taking a shit in them and throwing them in the hamper.
Boring.
subtlety to that humor.
It was a Tom Myers
It
setup.
was a Tom Myers. Yeah, it took a while to get there. So I guess Dan will be writing his own material going forward. So then, because John's terrible at interviewing a celebrity, they get into these very boring conversations about Dan's 5-year-old son playing t-ball. And this goes on for a while.
My kid, my boy, was a good baseball player when he was little. I mean, we're talking little, you know, t-ball and stuff. But when I used to pitch that kid, he could hit a wiffle ball like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And then when he went out for t-ball, man, he's whacking that thing off the tee. And so when most kids, you know, they would throw underhand pitches or, you know, I would just throw a regular pitch, not a fastball, but I threw it fast. I threw it and he would whack them. And he was good. He was a good. He had great hand-eye coordination.
Oh, boring. Boring. Why are we talking about this?
John thinks it's gold, though.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for John to say when I was 5.
Oh yeah.
I played shortstop, and let me tell you, it turned some double plays in my time. Instead, he talks about his son playing baseball with Rainn Wilson's son, because he has a name drop, which is not impressive.
Drop! And something tells me he has no stories of he himself playing with his children.
No, of course not. No, but I think he was there one time and saw another celebrity. And Dan goes, well, we're in Calabasas. That makes sense. There'd be other LA celebrities there. Like, yeah, it's not that surprising by any stretch of the imagination. All right, I have a question for all of you fine folks who came out tonight, and I do appreciate everyone. You know, Tony Michaels accused me of renting out a venue in Nashville and paying for it. It still pisses me off, so I appreciate you guys all coming out so that we can show Tony Michaels that making fun of Stuttering John is a lot of fun. So you should get into it. Yeah, Chicky McNuggets over there. No sauce for my McNuggies, come on.
This live show is just a revenge fuck, basically.
Drive in, drive out, drive through.
So I want to ask you fine folks, how long do you think it will take John to ask Dan what his take is on Will Smith slapping Chris Rock? All right, put a number in your head. We'll see if you were right about this.
Over under.
So, Dan, I'd love to get your perspective on it. Like, so many questions. Well, but I'm just, as a comic, when Chris Rock made that joke at the Academy Awards, and Will Smith comes up and punches him, slaps him.
Right.
Now, you are a comic that will go out on a limb, you know, you're not exactly always PC or whatever, but I don't think with Chris Rock, I mean, you know, how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that? Was the question he eventually got to. The answer was 36 seconds. It took him 36 seconds to just say, what's your take on that? It's pretty big national news. You probably have a take on it.
Dan the cable guy's face while he's trying to understand what the fuck is going on.
Should I call an ambulance? What's going on right now, sir? Are you okay? So then John follows this up with his take on it, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but comedians need to protect each other, and John is one of those comedians.
We're not elected officials, so it doesn't matter what we think.
That's what I mean. It's at a comedy club. You come to see comedy.
Boom! Hot take! That's why John has his own show and none of you do. That's why right there. He's got those hot takes.
The funniest part of that segment was an unintentional joke where Larry the Cable Guy said that he gives Carrot Top props.
Yes. Yes, that was actually, I don't think he meant that as a joke.
No, he didn't,
Yeah.
but that was hilarious.
Pretty good though.
Yeah.
You gotta give him props. Why? He brought his own. I tagged it, I didn't need to. I didn't need to, you guys all got it. I deserve that.
show booze as a drop on the board now.
Booze? What kind of booze?
So anyone here think I'm a cunt, or how does that work?
And the show has reached a new low.
I'm gonna get back on track now. What I like about Dan is that he tells John to his face what a piece of shit he thinks he is, but John doesn't pick up on it at all, which I find really fun.
You know, and that's why I say, Johnny, politics, people that make politics their religion are the most dangerous people out there. Because when you do a joke, a political joke, that's on about them, you've almost blasphemed one of their gods. And
You almost what?
you've blasphemed one of their gods. Okay, because politics is a religion to a lot of people.
What I love about that is he asks him to clarify. He goes, what? And then he repeats it. He goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Blasting. I get it.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I just did a blast.
I'm a coke fiend. Is that similar? I know about that.
I just learned a new word and I killed it immediately.
Yeah, I'll be using that word for the next 3 shows in a row, non-stop. All right, so I mentioned that Larry the Cable Guy is Dan Whitney, and the reason why I mentioned that is because you might notice behind Dan's head, on his chair, there's a W. Now, an intelligent person would know why that is. John is not an intelligent person.
Dan, I gotta ask you some fucking. What's that W on your chair?
Huh?
On your chair is a W.
Yeah, my last name, Whitney. Hello, Johnny. Hello, McFarlane.
What a boob!
Weed fan.
Yeah! Does that stand for marijuana?
That's too much research for Stuttering John to do.
Holy
Figure
shit.
out his guess title name.
You know what really annoys me about Stuttering John? The technical issues. You gotta, listen, I know he's got a MacBook and an iPhone and they automatically sync up, and so when someone texts you, it dings, you gotta turn off notifications. John not only doesn't turn off notifications, he lets them go throughout an entire hour and 10 minutes. I put together a little supercut for all of us to enjoy, and when I say enjoy, this enraged me every time it happened, but hopefully you guys enjoy it.
So we really should have think about it, you know? And I told her, I said, you know, it's really funny. I literally made a turn to go to the thing, and my foot went out from under me. And I felt like, oh man, what is this, you know?
You know, it's my youngest son also was in.
I think that he was offended by it. He should have waited until after the show and went backstage.
Carrot Top is. He does an entertaining show. People are laughing. People are paying and having a great time. You know, it's like.
But comedy is hard. Developing a following, they pay their hard-earned money to come laugh.
Usually we wear headphones when we do these live shows. That's the reason why we didn't do it this time. I want to blow our eardrums.
I have to admit something.
Yeah, what's that?
When we were at the B&B and Carl was clipping this, I thought that was your phone.
Yep.
I thought people were contacting you about the show.
Yep.
And it was pissing me off. I was like, do you fucking silence that?
I have to admit something too. I also thought it was my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? And then I rewind it and like, oh no, that's definitely
that's
what he did.
Fuck yeah.
That's what this dolt put out there as a show that he's been plugging forever. He's all excited about. He had to change. He had to do this on a Tuesday instead of his regular Saturday. Thankfully, he was still able to drink beer. Because normally he drinks beer on Saturday, but Tuesday he was able to do it as well.
I hate it when it's just on the balcony with
Right, yeah, I know. Sometimes it's without the beer. Oh, no, wait, actually, no, that's never happened. No. He always finds a way to drink beer. All right, John is so desperate for a friend. He is such a loser. He's practically asking Dan to be his friend. Remember, this is supposed to be a show. Not a telephone.
Don't start that shit.
Not a telephone conversation.
That's what the fifth comes.
All right, Dan, now let me ask you, because I actually did have something, because it's so easy to choose shit with you. That's why I told Maggie.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're just going to talk about life, love, and comedy. I don't have any.
We had some fun, John. We
You
had
must be like you're my friend. I mean, it's just, you know, I've always been very comfortable with you.
You're the host of the show I'm on, so there's that. Isn't that good enough, John? And it gets worse because Dan talks about how he's on The Masked Singer, and he was out in LA for 10 days shooting The Masked Singer, and John goes, "That's where I live." You didn't even text me. What's up with that? So then John says this, and watch Dan plow through this so quickly. It's actually stealth and impressive.
I mean, it was the greatest gig I ever had. I went out to LA for 10 days, and I taped 3 days, and I
Next time
golfed,
you come out here, fucking hit me up.
and I golfed 5 days.
That was artful.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time twiddling my thumbs, so yeah, it just wouldn't have worked into the schedule, but maybe next time. And of course, John doesn't give up there. Before the show ends, he asks one more time for Dan to be his friend.
Dan, you know, I love you. If you ever come out again to LA, you know, just, you know, ask, you know, either ask Maggie to get, you know, and I'll fucking come and we'll have a few beers.
All right, sounds good. If I ever get out there again, I'll do it like that.
That's a no. I've talked to people who don't like me before. That's a no.
A lot of those.
Hey, so if you want to go out sometime, maybe, and we can see a movie, oh yeah, or not, you know, that's cool. I watch movies by myself too.
I have a jam-packed schedule of not doing that at all.
All right, this is a fun clip. Because Dan, I don't know if you guys know this, but he was a voice actor on the movie Cars. And that has taken off to its own franchise. And it's made Dan a multi-gajillionaire, which John, by the way, mentions that he's very jealous of, obviously. And so as he's telling the story about how his young kids found out that their dad was famous because of this cartoon that all their friends watch, and they all love the character that he plays, John has to interrupt Dan in that conversation to bring up, you guessed it, substitute teaching.
More so
Buddy, Dan,
at certain movies.
Dan, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but, you know, on the side, I substitute teach here. You know, why? Because LA needed teachers bad. You know, I'm qualified. And, you know, and I said to them, because they looked me up. As soon as I'm there, you know, they Google, "You're famous." Wait,
Thanks to Brandon for sending me some drops for the show. I needed to have that one. Alright, I'm going to reveal something that's so shocking, you'll be talking about this with your loved ones for years to come. John actually does know the phrase, shooting the shit. I know. He always says chewing the shit, but he actually reveals that he knows the right phrase.
Yeah.
yeah, we're just kicking back to fucking shooting the shit.
Whoa! Where did that come from?
That was an accident.
It was an
You
accident.
got it right on
He
it.
should have been like, I mean chewing the shit, I'm
Right.
sorry. I sound like an idiot.
Even a broken clock.
So, you guys have all heard of like a guy's O face, you know, made famous by whatever that movie was. Office Space. Well, John has a ha-ha face that rivals the O face.
The last thing a homeless Californian sees is they're strangled to death.
I don't think that played well. I want to hit that again. Let's try that again. It's so gross. Here's another gross reaction. I swear to God, if I told you this was the same guys who did Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, you would believe me. This does not look human. This looks like CGI.
That's like when AI draws a face, but it like fucks it up just a little bit.
Special effects artists are like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a little uncanny valley. I'll agree with you on that.
Grotesque.
All right. So then, John has 2 more questions. It's almost an hour in, and Dan, by the way, 4 shows in a row. This is the first one that the guest didn't say, are we done yet?
Yeah.
30 minutes in. So props to John.
Yeah, that's a win for him.
That's a win. And he kept him over his time, which was great. And John says, I have 2 more questions. And there's a weird thing going on in the universe where John and Opie are finding their way. They're turning into each other somehow. And this is where John turns into Opie here.
All right, 2 more questions, and I'll let you go. First,
Okay.
is there anything that you can tell me that nobody knows about Dan Whitney?
That's not a good interview question. You're putting all the onus on the interviewee to come up with something interesting to say. All right, tell me something really interesting that you've never told anyone else before. What? You answered that question.
That's an easy answer for John because my last name is Whitney. You didn't know that.
Yeah, right, exactly.